Hello friends, welcome back. It's pretty obvious what we're doing today. Today we are making a stocking. There is a stocking that I saw and it's from like 2017 Hypixel, and I've not seen anybody do one similar to it. And I really wanted one like that, one that wasn't so 2D, so like flat. I know, flat stuff in a square world, but I think I've managed to get pretty dang close. We've got a little bit more going on here. And let me just give you a little look at it. It just seems like it's a little more rounded, like it's a filled in stocking. So I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I can only find a picture of this Hypixel stocking on Google. Even wherever Google is pulling it from, the image is no longer there. So I can't give credit to the person who did it, and I just wanted to do something really similar that just seemed a little more lifelike, a little more full, and something you could do. Like, it's an actual build. You could do something inside of it if you wanted to. And so that's what we're doing today. We're building a stocking. For supplies, you're gonna need a wool farm for this one, friends. There's a lot of wool. You need 434 pieces of red wool, 128 pieces of white wool, and a mangrove door. That's it. Here is the blueprint of the stocking that we're going to be working with today. For layer 1, we're just going to go all the way around with some red wool, and then we're gonna fill that space there with a door. I chose to use a mangrove door because it's the reddest door we have and kind of blends a little bit with all of this red wool. And here is your aerial view for layer 1. For layer 2, we're going to start down here in the bottom left corner with a piece of red wool, and then we need a temporary piece of wool and a piece of red wool coming off of that. Along this front, we are going to need 9 more pieces of wool. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So then you should have a gap here. Then we want to place another piece of wool on that corner there, and 1 piece of wool coming off of the heel of the stocking. Then we're going to add 4 pieces to the back here. 3, 4. 1 right here next to the door. 1 right there on the other side of the door. And then we want to place 1 that comes out. This is us expanding the stocking a little bit. So you'll place 1 here, and then you need to take 8 down this back side of the stocking. 5, 6, 7, and 8. When you get here, you'll place 1 more there on that corner, 1 here, then you'll need a temporary block, a piece of red wool coming off of that temporary block, and then 1 right there. And this is your aerial view for layer 2. For layer 3, we're going to start down here in this bottom left corner. This is the bottommost corner, and that's why I've chosen this area here. We're going to start with a temporary block, and then we're going to step out 1 with a red wool, and I'm going to actually have you leave that temporary block for just a little bit longer. And then we need to take 8 more pieces of red wool down this front of the stocking. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next, you'll want to place a red wool here on that corner. And then you'll need a piece coming off the back of that block there. And then we'll add another row of 5 here to the back of the stocking. Next, you'll place 2, 1, 2, so the second one ending on the door there. And then you'll add another 2 blocks there. Then we'll need a temporary block here and a red wool on the outside of that. And you can get rid of this temporary block. Then we need to add 8 more pieces of red wool, working our way back to the toe. 5, 6, 7, 8. Here you'll need a temporary block so that you can place a red block there. You can get rid of that temporary block. a temporary block here, and a red block here, a temporary block here, and a red block here. And then with this red block, we are going to add 2 more red wools to create a flat 3 right here on the toe. And then we're going to continue to make this diagonal line that we have using temporary blocks. I guess I didn't need that one since I left the white there. But then once you're done with those, you can get rid of all of your temporary blocks. And this is your aerial view for layer 3. For layer 4, we're going to start down here in this bottom left corner. Once again, we're going to place down 10 pieces of red wool. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 10th one will hang off there. Then we need 1 piece here and 5 along the back. 3, 4, 5. 1 piece here. And then we're going to add 10 all the way across the way we did over there. So 1 of those pieces will hang off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 should end flush with the toe piece here. Then we need 1 piece of red wool here, 1 piece here, but then we're also going to add a second piece on the inside of that there. And then we're going to add 1 red wool there on the diagonal. We're going to add 2 back behind to mirror the other side and a diagonal piece there. And this is your aerial view for layer 4. For layer 5, we are going to add a temporary block on this piece right next to us, the diagonal piece. Then we need 5 red wool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to bump back out into the heel portion here and place down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 here. 5 across the back. 1 here. 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we need a temporary block and add 1 onto the inside area there. And you can get rid of your temporary block. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, and no. 5. From here we need 1 in the diagonal, so you'll need a temporary block. And place a red wool. And then we have a 3, and then we have 3 pieces of red wool that cross this section here. And we need 1 piece of red wool on this section out there. And then we have 1 more diagonal red wool there, and you can get rid of your temporary block. And this is an aerial view of layer 5. For layer 6, I'm going to have you place a red wool right here next to you. And then we need 4 more pieces off of that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then to the diagonal here, we have 2 pieces of red wool. And then diagonal again for 4 pieces of red wool. 4. 1 on the diagonal, 5 across the back. 1 on the diagonal. 4 here. 3, 4. 2 here. 1, 2. Then you need a temporary block. And 5 on that inside area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For this section, we're going to add 1 piece on the inside of the side wall of your stocking, I guess. Then we need 1 piece of red wool on the diagonal out there, and 1 piece within that side wall there. We're not quite done yet though. Next, you're going to need to count from this point here. 1, 2, 3. On this 3rd one, you'll place a red wool. And on the 4th one, you'll place a red wool. And then you'll place 2 on the other side, matching up. And this is an aerial view of your layer 6. For layer 7, we're down here in this bottom left corner. What we're going to need to do is place a temporary block here. and place a red wool here. You can get rid of your temporary block. Now we're gonna fill in this cross shape that we have here. So red wool there, there, here. And we can continue down and around on the stocking, the leg part of the stocking, if you will. So then there will be one more here, and one here. Then we want to place one here on the diagonal, and you can get rid of your temporary block. Then we have 2 on this diagonal, 1, 2, and 3 here, 1, 2, 3. So we have 1 and 5, 3, 4, 5, 1 piece here, 3 pieces here, 2, 3, 2 pieces here, 1, 2, 1 on this diagonal, so you'll need a temporary block. You can get rid of that. Then we need to add 1 more here to finish out this as a row of 3, and 1 more there to finish that out as a row of 3. And this is your aerial view of layer 7. For layer 8, I'm going to have us start here in this little cross section thing that we have going on. We have 1 piece here, and we have 3 pieces coming off of that, like that. Then what you want to do, working our way around the circle the way we have been, we need a temporary block there, a red wool, and then another on the diagonal. Then we have 3, 1 on the diagonal, 5, 1 on the diagonal, 3, 1 on a diagonal, a temporary block so we can place 1 more on a diagonal. And here's your aerial view for layer 8. For layer 9, we're doing something pretty similar. We're placing a red wool here, and then we're going to reach across to this, and we're going to bring 5 pieces of red wool all the way across. 4 and 5. Now we need a red wool on this diagonal. 3 here. 1 on the diagonal. 5. 1 on the diagonal. 3. And 1 on the diagonal. Now you'll notice that we have created the same dimensions for this oval shape here, minus that one little hanging off piece. And this is your aerial view for layer 9. Layer 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 are all going to be the same thing. So I will walk you through one, and then I will speed through the other layers until we get to layer 17. So for layer 10, I'm going to have you reach across like we did earlier. We need 5, and then 1 on the diagonal, 3, 1 on the diagonal, and 5, 1 on the diagonal, then 3, and 1. Super, super simple. That is your layer 10. Now go ahead and do that for the next 6 layers. And this is what you should look like after getting to layer 16 and getting all of those duplicate layers done. For layer 17, I'm going to have you start down here in the very bottom most left corner of the circle. And you're going to start off with a red wool. And then I'm going to have you take a white wool coming off of that. Then we have a red wool and a white wool, a red wool and a white wool, and a white wool. Then on this one we have 2 white wools, and here we have a red wool. On the outside of this white wool here you have 1 more white wool. On the outside of that red wool you have a white wool, and then another white wool. Right here on the red you're going to place a red and then a white. A red and a white, red, white, red, white, red, and white. Next we need 2 white, a red behind them, a white coming off of that white, and 2 white coming off of that red. Over here you have a red and a white, red and a white, red and a white. Next is 2 white and a white coming off of that white. On this diagonal piece is a red, and then we need 2 white coming off of that red. Red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red and white. Here we have that 2 white with a red behind them, a white coming off of that white, and 2 white coming off of that red. That should connect you all the way around. This is your aerial view for layer 17. For layer 18 and 19, we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to start in this bottom left corner, and we're going to place a temporary block. Then place a white wool coming off of that, and you can get rid of the temporary block if you would like. Now going around in the same direction that we usually do, we need 4 more white wool, 3 and 4. Then we need 1 on the diagonal here, so you can place a temporary block, place a white wool, and 1 more on this diagonal. Then you can get rid of that temporary block. You can place a temporary block here, and a white coming off of that, and you can get rid of the temporary block. After this, you need 6 more white wool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we need our temporary block, so we can place 2 white blocks that are diagonal. You can get rid of that temporary block. Another temporary block, and a white wool coming off of that. And then we need 4 pieces of white wool. 1, 2, 3, 4. The temporary block and the diagonals. And the temporary block and a white wool there. Then 6 white wool going along the toe side of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A temporary block here, and 2 whites on the diagonal. This is your aerial view for layer 18. Like I said before, layer 19 is just a complete copy of what was going on down below, so just make your way around with another row of white wool. And here's your aerial view for layer 19. Layer 20 is our very last layer, and it is just going to mimic this white inner line that we have down there. So go ahead and place a temporary block on your diagonal right here. Then you're going to place 5 white wool, 3, 4, and 5. Then we need 1 on the diagonal over here, so 1. And on the inside of this temporary block, we're going to place another white block. After this white block, there will be 6 white wool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we need to work on that diagonal there. 1 on the outside of that diagonal, or that temporary block. And 4 more white wool here. 1, 2, 3, 4. A temporary block, a diagonal, then a white wool here. Get rid of the temporary block, and 6 more going this way. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we still have our temporary block there, so we can place the 1 diagonal. Get rid of that. And here's your aerial view for layer 20. And there you have it, friends. This is our pretty simple stocking, but I feel like it's a little bit more than just a 2D flat stocking as well, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And I guess I will see you in the next build. Bye!